So let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
What happens when your goal becomes a nightmare? The dead silence in this house.
Yeah, like
You're still processing.
yeah,
Like, how
exactly.
does a goal become a nightmare?
No, I want to give an answer that will
I was gonna make an
satisfy the
example.
curiosity.
Because
You can make an example.
let me make an example so that I can actually paint a clear picture. When I say your goal becomes a nightmare, remember, like you will have a goal at one point. Maybe it might be too big that you're not the only one that gets to drive it going further, right? Like if you look at Steve Jobs, for instance, like at some point,
He
like
got kicked out of his own
he got
company.
kicked out of his own company and he had to literally sit on the sidelines, right? It's like you literally built this thing, bro, and like where people want to take it, you don't want whatever you build to go in that direction of travel, right? And they're pushing it to go there. So what then now? Because then it ultimately becomes a nightmare because I mean, in every establishment, maybe there's a board of directors, which we are in this table, good thing. Board of directors. So you get to vote, you know, and sometimes like even the most trusted people will vote you out because they don't buy into your vision and where you're trying to take things. And now your goal becomes a nightmare.
I don't know if that's an ideal example, because I think there are a lot of factors to that specific incident or that entire journey that Apple actually found themselves in, because there was a pushback from both parties.
I already know Steve's perspective. I'm asking your perspective, so I don't want you to base it off of that because I know their perspective. I want to know if you were in that predicament, like how do you go about it? Like,
no, like that's the thing. If you're driving such a huge machine, you understand that there are a lot of controls involved. And there are a lot of instruments that gets the goal to where it should be, or that drives the goal, in fact. So you understand that the importance of each and every pawn or each and every piece of the chessboard. So you're not going to win the game with the king alone. So if you come to a game of chess and your opponent has all the pieces and you have just the king.
He's talking from reading about chess, by the way, not like from playing.
Exactly. You know? So I've read correctly.
He likes to act like he's a pro.
I'm no pro, bro.
Yeah, go for it,
so if you start off with the king and the opponent has all pieces within no time, that game is over. So you need to understand that each and every piece on the board plays a vital role in getting to the opposition or to actually getting your goal, to achieving your goal. So if you get to this point where you feel that you are superior to the company, even if as a founder, you need to understand that your CEO, your board, every single person is important to the growth and development of the company. Yes. You should be having the say of where it needs to go. But again, we're not experts in every single matter.
True.
You need to have people that's an expert in the finance part and you focus on the creative part. Yes, you can pull and have an idea of those things. But if you want to eliminate everybody, Apple could have died because of having that mentality of thinking that you'll drive it alone.
You know, they're saying that if you want your company to be successful, hire people that are smarter than you. Like, it's such a cool saying that people like, but when you actually maybe dissect it closely, you find that very little understand it, right? What it actually reminds me of, if you are a brilliant football player, no matter what you do, no matter how much you think you know your body, there are doctors for that who will tell you if your body is reacting in the right way or your body is not. No matter how good you are, you're going to need an accountant who's going to be able to run your business. And you might be good with money, but there's someone better than you with money, right? Same as you might read all books about law, but there's a lawyer that knows much more than you do, even with every book that you would have read, right? So it's going back to running the show. You do not run the show by yourself. You have people that actually add to what you are actually doing insofar as your goal. So for you to start thinking less about the company or the goal for that matter and more about yourself, then you get totally disconnected and it becomes very difficult for you to actually achieve even that goal.
So I heard we obviously making examples of big, huge organizations, right? I just wanted us to focus on individually in terms of
or individual goals.
Yeah, individual goals and achieving them, because I think like the viewers as well would also like some interest in inserts on that. Yeah. Because I think like the points it's obviously relevant. I think from a business perspective it also becomes very complex, in terms of yes, you have this goal, you have this vision, and there's a lot of people that gets on board or whatever, but things change, people change. And yeah, like you made an example about Steve Jobs as well, when he was actually kicked out of his own company. So where did that then go wrong? Did he then, the goal was there, did he take his focus off the goal, or was he not connected to his partners? You get what I'm saying? In sync with his partners in terms of achieving this goal.
Yeah, that's it's a tough one to dissect now because it will be all speculation at this moment.
True.
But on the individual goal side, that's actually where I want to hone it down to. But if you think about it nicely, Microsoft is Paul Allen and Bill Gates. It's not Microsoft, this big corporation. Initially. Sorry about that. So it's two people. And initially, it's like Paul Allen recruits Bill Gates, and then they form Microsoft, what it is today. Look at Microsoft now, $1 trillion company. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, the list goes on and on and on, of things that started by a single person that branched off into something totally.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gracias. Must speak Portuguese in a Portuguese place. Oh well, gracias is Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Damn, we
It's
need to
obrigado.
go back. We need to go to the
It's obrigado. I'll teach you these things. Just stick around. So that's what I want us to hone in and dissect. To say, guys, if we look at it from, I'm speak from my, my life, and be like, look, when I look at things and I look at my life from, like, thinking back from, let's say, high school, because you'd set, I think, more clearer goals, or you'd remember things a bit more clearer, well, at least for me, than previous times, like primary school and stuff. And I think I spoke a lot of smack when I was much younger. I wanted to do all the weirdest things. But when I look at that and I say, okay, how far did I come in comparison to what I've set at the time? If I measure those goals, how far have I came? Was it the right direction? Did I go in the opposite direction? And that's where I was coming about the sales. You on course to from Africa to the US or to China, and now the wind blows the opposite direction. Do you leave your sales the way they are, or do you adjust your sales to push you in the other direction, or like what actually then happens? Because sometimes, you find yourself in situations whereby the goal seems unachievable. Because if you look at Microsoft, what it is today, and you ask Bill Gates at the time that he started Microsoft, or even Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the guys from Google, if you ask them, do you think Google would have been what it is now? Google is just, digesting so many different companies. YouTube was started by someone else. Google was like, look, we need this part of our repertoire. and they bought Google over. Look at Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and Instagram. He bought Instagram over, and many other platforms. Did you think that at the time, while being on campus, starting Google, starting Facebook, that you'd be at this point where, I mean, Larry Page and Sergey Brin are worth over 40 billion each?
I think it depends upon the landscape you're in. It's that simple.
Oh, I like this. So you're saying that the surrounding and your environment, your thinking would then direct you or will channel you into a specific direction.
Let me tell you what I mean. If you make $1 million, right? The million will land you into a different landscape where you'll be able to see other things that maybe cost 5 million, right?
Yeah.
And when you realize that there are things that cost 5 million, you're gonna want to attain the things that cost 5 million. And when you get to 5 million, you realize that actually there's a different landscape that requires 100 million. The more you get exposure, the more you actually open yourself up. It's almost like a game of continuity.
To other goals as well.
Yes, to other goals as well, right? Because, I mean, like you spoke about your own goals as a young man growing up, I'm sure when you look back, you can identify growth in terms of levels. I was here and now I'm here, right? And when you get to this level, you do not visit the previous level. You look ahead. If you look backwards, then I think that there has to be some element of I want to take some learnings from my past. That's the only time you should look backwards, when you have to take something. And if you didn't learn it at that point, like, you need to revisit. That's what they call retracing the steps. Where did I get it wrong? So you go back 2 steps back and you learn. This is where I got it wrong. You rectify it. But other than that, the aim is to always look ahead. That's why these guys constantly expand.
Yeah. But now, what I want to really
just to touch on his point. He just someone said, "Want to make it to a billy? I can take the same route."
Who's that someone?
Hey, he doesn't want to talk about it.
I'm not gonna say, but
who's that someone?
Yeah.
It's like Tupac, right? No. Don't worry, man.
I want to tell you something funny, and that's just when the camera goes off.
You know, like when you listen to Tupac, right? I mean, like, I'm not talking about Tupac from a music perspective. I'm just talking about his awareness as a person. Like, the way that he was so aware, like, he was talking on matters that an average rapper wouldn't even dare think about. That was like him where he was. And I look at that and I think, for me, it's an element of transformation. He actually, like, went levels ahead. And the more levels that he actually got to see, the more he became aware. If you are, let's say you're a new artist, you sign a contract, the only thing you know is, I need to get myself like a Ferrari. I need to get myself like a Richard Mille, a nice watch. I need to get myself all these luxurious things, right? People need to see that, you know, I've made it in life. But the longer you stay there, you start to see that actually other people are doing things that are different, you know, like they have brand associations with alcohol. They kind of like pushing other things. It's not just that. So you get to see other things now. That's why now an artist becomes a global superstar by actually doing other things. It's quite funny. Like, can I just tell you a short story? It's quite funny how Beyonce, like, is R&B, right? But did you know that there was a time where Beyonce had to transform from being an R&B star to like an R&B / pop superstar? And for someone who was in R&B, it was difficult to tap into the other part. And the younger generation that was coming through at that time, like your Rihanna's, your Taylor Swift's, and your Katy Perry's, and all these guys, pop was running the show. So for you to change your goal from like, I'm an R&B superstar to I need to be known as an artist globally, a superstar globally, not just within the confines of R&B Or so those goals are goals that you only get to know of when you are part of the journey.
Once you're exposed to something new.
You're exposed to something new.
All right.
So can I then ask this? And I know this is going to be like a bit of a back and forth, but I want to dissect this because I feel that for me personally, even if other people don't take anything from it, I would take something from it. So what I want to find out then, would you think that based on what you guys are saying now, that the vision of Elon Musk was not to get to this point that he is now? Forget about money.
Yes,
it was most possibly.
It might have been to get there, right? Okay, let's put it this way, Minke. Right? What are we doing here? We are podcasting.
Yeah.
Right?
And having some coffee.
And having some coffee.
I don't know about you all, but that's in my drink, but that's the funny part of it.
So basically, oh, that's a nice Porsche. Is it a 911 or a Panamera?
That's the goal.
You see, that's what I'm talking about.
Anyway.
So you are podcasting here, right?
Yeah.
And it's all good and fun. But this is a fucking production in the making, right?
Yep.
In as much as you might not be a production now, but you are a production, and that's what you aim to become, a production, right? You own everything that you do here.
Mm-hmm.
This is your network. Nothing stops you from actually playing cartoons in this channel.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's your network, you run everything.
Mm.
If you decide you want to make it about music, you make it about music. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to make it about sports, you make it about sports.
Mm-hmm.
It's yours, it's your baby to run.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with you doing that, if you then realize that actually me having done all these other things, that actually got me into being considered a production, now I can also tap into other things. Much more bigger things than what you would have initially thought of. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do get it.
So that's what Elon had to go through. He had a vision, and the vision is to always like aim higher. The sky is the limit for some people, but for us, the sky is what we stand on.
But like, okay, I get that, but I also kind of disagree to some extent with Elon, because like with let's say Apple again, right?
Yeah.
Or let's say Amazon. They started selling books.
Mm-hmm.
That's something totally different, because now you continue and you start bringing in more and more inventory of different things, and you start selling it at large quantities. But with Elon Musk, after selling off his part of PayPal, the intention was there to say, I'm investing this amount of money into SpaceX and this amount of money into Tesla. There are other projects that came about, but those are predominantly what he's known for, and what he's at this moment that he's currently busy with. Yes, there's the boring project that he's busy with. There's the underground digging that he's busy with as well. But the main focus are on those two companies. And I don't think that those other projects are above these two. When he came about, he's like, okay, I need to get rockets. Let me speak to the Russians. Spoke to the Russians, saw things are not working out. He tried to figure out his own things. He then said, okay, let's build our own rockets. He hired rocket scientists. He then studied as much as he possibly could about it, and then they started developing.
Let's bring it home. X has a Porsche, right? Oh, it's a Cayenne. If X, in the near future, he obtains a Maybach.
Hold on. Not if, when.
When?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Speak it
Okay,
in
when
the air.
X, in the near future, attains a Maybach, right? It doesn't mean that it's far off from this one, right? It might be bigger than, but it was introduced as a form of this is what you need to attain. He might actually get to this car and realize that actually I want something bigger than this and better than this. Do you get what I'm saying? So the same would have happened for Elon. Yes, he had the intention was there, but like what he was doing is he was taking it one step at a time. There is not one person that's not taking it one step at a time. If they're telling you that we aren't taking it one step at a time, they're lying. Let's take the biggest artist in the world, Drake. There was a time where like the guy didn't have the audience that he has now. If he actually pictured himself being the biggest artist in the world from the inception, he'd be telling you lies. At some point, he wanted a 20,000 venue to be filled. 20,000 at some point, and that was his biggest dream if he had filled that venue with 20,000 people. And then he did that. And then he felt like, well, I could have 100,000 people now. Let me go for that, right? And he found himself in a position where he's able to want more as long as he can give more, right? So once you stop giving more, you stay at that level. And the truth about staying at that level and not doing anything more is at some point you're going to get relegated, just like us now. That stayed at a certain level and thought that they were just going to be comfortable there. Other guys showed them that, hey, bro, we'll eclipse you very soon. And they are where they are. So you have to keep going, bro. Like there is no point where you stop with your goals. Whatever goals you have, just know that when you stop, you're gonna be complacent. You're gonna exhaust those levels, and you're gonna be relegated to a level below. When you stop, you go down, going back where you started.